We were joined by Jacques, regulatory and government affairs partner at Gowling WLG, for more on what the top priorities will be for each party, starting with Mark Carney's Liberals.
Well, there's no question, first of all, they have a new leader, and they're going to want to make sure that this new leader is going to be known to Canadians in a very positive way. Clearly, what we've seen in the last 4 or 5 weeks is absolutely incredible. Just considering the polling that has gone on, when you compare this month and last year, it's a difference of night and day. The question is, can the Liberal Party actually maintain that momentum? They do have an incredibly strong candidate, someone who understands economic issues, someone who understands business issues, someone who's obviously very committed to doing whatever he can to actually take a place in Canadian history and make a very positive difference. I look at someone like Mark Carney also as someone who needs to demonstrate to Canadians he has a heart. He's already being painted as someone who is a CEO material, doesn't really understand the person, the little person, doesn't understand communities in the same way that maybe the other parties do, which I think is somewhat, unfair over that. I mean, you have to remember that Mark Carney for many years was a public servant. So he has to actually resonate in a way that demonstrates he understands government, he's been in government, he's taken on leadership roles. And one thing that he does have is an ability, I think, to share the message that he knows a lot of the people that he needs to deal with. And that's in Europe. He's already demonstrated that to Prime Minister Starmer. With Prime Minister Starmer, he's been recognized, obviously, to someone like President Macron, as someone that he would want to meet with. And then, someone who can really appreciate, I think, both the intellectual set, but also the set of individuals out there that are going to help him. He has a phenomenal Rolodex. If I could use an old expression, his contact list is enormous. And so the question is, who does he reach out to support him in his efforts, both on the global scale and also domestically? Because this is an incredibly, how can I say, it's a monumental election. This is an election in my lifetime. I don't think I've seen something like this. One might compare to 1988, but at the same time, there's absolutely no question that the world wasn't in the kind of turmoil that it's in right now. In 1988, it was about free trade. Here, it's much, much more than that.
We also discussed what the Conservatives need to do to fend off the Liberals' momentum in the polls.
Well, I think in another way, Pierre Poilievre also has to recognize that he's dealing with a very different person than Justin Trudeau. And sure, he can attack Mark Carney. He can attack the group that surround him by hammering the message that it's the same old. It's not easy to maintain that when new ideas are coming out and when there is a very different approach coming from a leader. I think it's extremely important for someone like Pierre Poilievre, who when I think about this, and I think about the fact, think about two boxers that are in the ring, and that's basically where we're at right now. Well, one looked like he was going to have the full advantage, and all of a sudden, he's addressing issues with an entirely different opponent. But one thing that Pierre Poilievre may want to do is talk a little bit more about his team, talk about who he sees around him in the Conservative Party that is going to be able to support his initiatives, recognizing that the approach he takes, which is actually less focused at the moment, even today, it's not so much on President Trump. It really is about the working person. It's the one who understands what needs to be done. There was one particular clip I already saw about the importance of Canadians looking to trade work, so that people are going to be properly armed to deal with the things that they need to, whether it's in construction or other things. But I think that he really has to demonstrate that he's a guy who is liked, because, and maybe more than liked, because at the end of the day, Canadians are going to decide in this moment of significant assault on Canada. They're going to want to decide who can steer us best, who will navigate us best through all of this. So he has to demonstrate that people should be confident in him.
And lastly, we spoke about the NDP and the tough road ahead for them with their collapse in the polls.
It's not going to be easy. I mean, we've actually seen the erosion, I think, of support over the last few years. I'm not sure that the way in which, and I think some people look at this, the way in which they supported the Justin Trudeau government through the last couple of years was necessarily to their benefit. There was a blurring in terms of what did they actually represent? Who were they? This is a very different group than those that that supported Jack Layton. You're looking at pockets, I guess, in the country where the NDP could expect that they would continue to have that support. It's not the case today. We really find ourselves, and it may very well be as a result of the challenges from the United States at this moment, that it's the two key parties that have to play the role. It's almost as if you have to sit this one out. And I think a lot of Canadians are going to pay much less attention to what it is the NDP is dealing with, because this is serious. This is, for many, regarded as existential. How often does it happen where a U.S. president actually continues to extol the virtue of what Canada would be if we were the 51st state? So here we are. We're in a situation where, again, it comes down to the two individuals that have to work it out. Who's going to be left standing? Who's going to be on the ropes? We're going to see a lot of up and down. It's absolutely amazing how over these last few weeks, we've seen such a remarkable change. And look, pollsters like Nick Nanos, like an exceptional pollster with excellent commentary, said, look, that can change. When you're looking at support that developed so quickly, that can diminish. So it really depends very much on how the two address each other. But I would think that at this point, most Canadians recognize that the biggest threat at the moment is what's coming from the South, and the importance for us to be able to stand strong and address the issues that we need to with a strong prime minister.